Good morning Africa, good morning African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hello African community, can you please pause for me? I am a 40-year-old man. I am now living in a foreign country. The reason why I had to come to this foreign country where I am living is because I was trying to search for a better life for me and my family. It was not easy for me when I arrived in this foreign country because I didn't know anyone. I had no money to pay rent or even to buy food. But lucky enough, I got this job of cleaning a certain old woman's yard. The money that she gave me, I was able to pay rent and buy a 12.5 kilograms bag of maize meal. But the place where I was staying, it was just a back room. Things were not okay. But the owner of the house, when he saw that I was just struggling, he told me that I should only pay half of the rent but I had to clean his yard. So at least on that part, I was okay. Then I used to go around the suburbs with a rake and a spade looking for piece jobs to clean people's yards. As I was walking around the suburbs one day, that is when I met this other guy. Actually, I knew this guy. I used to see him standing at the robot. He was always marketing himself at the robot. Then one day I met him. He was also working in the suburbs. This guy, he was a painter. So he used to go around holding his painting brush and a bucket, looking for piece jobs to paint people's houses. When I met him, whilst we were just marketing in the suburbs, that is when we started having a conversation. From that time, because we were almost in the same situation, we started discussing the issue of us going to the witch doctor in search of wealth. We then met another guy. This guy told us about this witch. He said that he knew this witch doctor who was in Malawi. He promised us that if we had money, we could get on the bus, then we would travel with him to Malawi, and he was going to take us to that witch doctor. The days went by and I was also saving money. At that time, I was working for this Indian guy. I used to go and clean his yard on Monday, then I would go on Wednesday and Saturday. So I told that Indian that he should only give me money for one day, then at the end of the month he can keep the rest of the money because I wanted to raise the money to travel to Malawi. When the days finally arrived, we departed. Then we left for Malawi. It was the three of us. But this guy who was going with us, he also had his own money. He told us that in order to have money, you need a strong heart. He told us that we didn't have to fear anything, we just had to be brave like warriors. This was a quest in search of riches. He said that fortune favors the brave. We arrived in Malawi and we went to a place where there were a lot of mountains. It was quite a scary place. The village in which we went, there was no electricity, there was no running water. Compared to the country where we were staying, it was almost like we were living in Europe compared to that village in Malawi. It was just a remote place. The amazing thing was that when we arrived in that place, it was around 3 p.m, the place was full of cars. Even though this village was in a remote part of Malawi, there were a lot of cars, and most of these cars were not from Malawi. Most of them had GP number plates. Some had number plates that were from Zimbabwe and Botswana. I also saw that there was a truck there, and that truck, there was a ritual that was being done on that truck. I don't know who the owner of that truck was. And it appeared that all of the people that had gathered around that traditional healer's place, most of them were people who were wealthy. It was said that when you get to that place, no one has to talk to anyone. No one was speaking to anyone. Even if you go with your wife or if you go with your husband, once you arrive in that village, you are not allowed to speak with anyone. You can only speak with that witch doctor or with any of his assistants. As it was a busy place, our entrance was perfect and we went in. There was an old man inside the consulting room. It was not a room as such, it was just a tent. And the tent was written Samandala. When we got inside that tent, we saw the man that was called Mandola. He was sitting and he was surrounded by two snakes, and those snakes, they were king cobras. There was also a rat in front of him. It amazed me, how can a snake and a rat be so close to each other like this? When I saw everything that was happening in front of my eyes, this made me feel uneasy, and I began to have fear. We told the old man all of our stories, and we were told that we had to put something like 3,000 rands. But all the money that I had, most of it I wanted to use for transport, so it wasn't going to be enough. Then our friend, whom we had traveled to Malawi with, said that he could pay for us, then we should repay him later on. Mandola asked us if we were brave enough to do whatever we had traveled to do in Malawi, and we said that we were more than ready. We were tired of being poor. Mandola told us to start with the process one by one that same night, which was to take off our clothes. We were rubbed with this kind of medicine that smelled like blood and it tasted like blood. We were told to sleep inside a coffin. But these coffins, it seemed as if they contained dead human bodies and snakes. I didn't actually know what was going on in that coffin. Because when I got inside that coffin, it was like the coffin was empty. But once Mandola closed that coffin, I suddenly saw that there was someone who was with me inside that coffin. Then there was a snake. It was like that dead human body that was suddenly with me inside that coffin, it then transformed into a snake. Then that snake multiplied into many snakes. That is when I collapsed because I was afraid, because there were snakes all over my body. After this ritual was done, we were escorted into the cave by a person who was working with Mandola. This cave was smelling. It was smelling so bad. The things that people do for money, my brother, you won't even understand. Because when we woke up in the morning and when we were going to that cave, which was in the mountains, each one of us, we were told that we had to carry our coffins as if we were carrying the Jesus cross. We were told that we had to carry our own coffins as if we were carrying the Jesus cross. So we struggled through the bush. And I was afraid of stepping on snakes. At the same time, I was balancing the coffin that was placed on my shoulders. And we were told that if you dropped that coffin that you were carrying like a Jesus cross, you could just drop dead. We were told that our lives were now placed inside that coffin because we had slept in that coffin throughout the night. Therefore, we had been transformed. The life that we will be living, it will be inside that coffin. So we were not supposed to drop the coffins that were placed on our shoulders. But lucky enough, those coffins were not so heavy anyway. We carried the coffins through the bushes, up the mountains, until we arrived at that place where that cave was, which was smelling like, I don't even know. Then we were told by Mandola's assistants that we had to get inside our coffins and we had to sleep face upwards as if we had just died. But this time around, when we were given the instruction that we had to get inside those coffins, I wanted to refuse because I was afraid. I saw that there was someone who looked like me inside that coffin. That is the reason why I was afraid. But my friend Jadori assured me, and he told me that the reason why we had traveled all this way to Malawi, it was because we wanted to be rich. He reminded me of all the times when I was cleaning people's yards. And sometimes when you were cleaning someone's yard, most of them would be cruel, making you work all day without giving you any food or anything. Then at the end of the day, they would just give you small money that cannot help you in any way. When I got inside that coffin, I felt something strange that was moving on top of my body. This time around, Mandola's assistants, they didn't close the coffins. They just left the coffins wide open. But they told us that no matter what happens, we were not supposed to open our eyes. If we feel anything moving around in that coffin, they told us that if we just open our eyes, we could just go blind in an instant. Whilst I was inside that coffin, I felt that there was a movement that was going all over my body. It seemed as if it was a snake, or maybe it was a dragon, I don't even know. But all that I remember is that this thing was so slippery. This thing that was moving all over my body, it felt so evil. But at the same time, it had the gentle touch of a woman. Then suddenly, that thing started licking my body. Because when we got inside those coffins, we were just naked. Like, naked. We were not wearing anything. After that creature had finished licking my body and gently touching me so as to calm me down, I felt a sudden rush of pain as if poison was moving throughout my body. That thing had just bitten me. That thing, it just bit me. And at that place where it had bitten me, I felt as if my soul was being sucked out of my body. I literally felt like my soul was being sucked out of my body. After the ritual was done, I still remember that Mandola climbed up the mountain and he came to the place where this ritual was being done on us early in the morning. And he told us that we had done a very good job. He laughed, and it was an evil laughter. He told us that there were more than 100 people who had gone blind in these mountains when they had looked at the creature that had been moving in our coffins. And he said that we were brave. He told us that we deserved every good thing that would be coming our way. Then he explained to us that the moment when we were feeling the gentle touch of a woman, he said that the gentle touch that we were feeling whilst we were sleeping in those coffins, we were actually having sexual intercourse with the spirit of a certain dead woman. Meaning that the spirit of that dead woman had laid a claim on our bodies, and we were not allowed to have any sexual relationship with any woman. I really felt sad. After this ritual was done, we then went back to Mandola's house, and we were told to wait for the night to do the other ritual. However, the night came and we went to the city to look for 3 cats. And we were told that we had to use these cats. Each one of us had to have his own cat. We spent the whole night looking for cats, but we only found 2. Then we returned with those cats to Mandola's house. When we arrived back with those 2 cats, there was a ritual that was done on those cats using our own fingers. Some of the rituals, I can't even describe on this public platform. Then there was blood that was taken from those cats, and we had to drink some of the blood. Then we were told that we had to go back to our original countries where we came from. And we were told that we had to select among our relatives, not the women but the men, and we had to find a way to sleep with our relatives, like the male relatives. And when we had finished, we were supposed to travel back to Malawi so that we could finish the ritual. And he told us that once we finished that ritual, we were going to be rich. So we all traveled back to our countries. As for me, there was this other relative of mine, he was actually my uncle. There was this other uncle of mine, he was someone who loved alcohol. Knowing that I had a ritual that I had to perform, I went to his house. Then I told him that I wanted me and him to go and drink. So we went, and as we were drinking, I made sure that he was so drunk. And there were things that I did to him that I cannot mention on this public platform. So after completing that ritual, there was another ritual that I had to do. It was easy because in the village, there were a lot of cats that were roaming around. I performed another ritual using that cat. But as I was performing that ritual, my mother saw me performing the ritual and she asked me why I was holding the cat like that. I told her that in the country where I was living and working, since I was working for mostly white people, and we all know that white people love cats, I was now used to living with cats. Then I told my mother that I had to leave. So when I left the village, that is when I gave my mother the job of taking care of that cat. But my mother didn't know that this was part of the ritual that I was doing. Dear listeners, that was a long message that I received from Anonymous. Strange things do happen in this world. Please let us meet again in the following episode. Like, share, subscribe and give your thoughts in the comments section below. See you.